Hi, Zach from Groovy Entertainment. Today's video is about things that turned 40 years old this year. Are mostly movies that I have. These movies in the TV show. Let's talk about the movies first. Now I got more movies than this, but these are what I found. So you can say Sean Connery comeback movie for James Bond, Never Say Never, came out in 1983 and made a lot of money surprisingly. You can say this 1983 was the year where the two James Bonds to go head to head at the theaters. Octopussy with Roger Moore and Never Say Never with Sean Connery. And this was the first time that people had to choose who were they going to support. The original James Bond or the new James Bond at the time. Then Blue Thunder came out in 1983, a movie about a super helicopter that was like a Airwolf, but in movie form. And this was a great movie. You had the guy that was on Jaws, and I think that was it. I don't think there was too many stars in this one. Then you had Scarface that came out in 1983, one of the biggest movie of all time, and that made him kind of popular again. Al Pacino, 'cause he was in the 70s when he did The Godfather and Scorpio or Sapino, whatever that movie was called, when he played an undercover cop. Then he did A Love Story. Then he did a lawyer movie. Then he did this. This made him big. And then Star Wars 4, Star Wars 3 came out, The Return of the Jedi. And this was the biggest movie of 1983. It 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 beat all these movies out that I've been showing you. At the time, nobody was able to top this movie. Now, I think people probably top this movie nowadays, but back in '83, when this came out, it beat all the movies that I'm showing you. And it was just part three of Star Wars with the Ewoks, and this was the last Star Wars movie till they until they released the Ewoks movies on ABC and Star Wars cartoons and the Star Wars video games, serials, and all that. And if you've seen any of these movies, leave it in the comments below and let me know which movie you saw. If you saw them when they first came out, hey, then let me know. I thought you saw them on TV too. Superman 3. This is more of a comedy Superman, but this did have a black villain. You could say Richard Pryor was the first guy to play Brainiac, if you think about it. He knew how to control the computers and stuff and make people do what he wanted them to do. Now this didn't really make that much money, but this movie beat Never Say Never Again. So Superman 3 knocked out James Bond. Of course, these two movies, I think Superman 3 was better than Never Say Never Again. But these two movies was kind of not the greatest movie of 1983, but they was out there. Now the last thing, He-Man came out in 1983 on TV and made it to 1985. So 85, 86, so it ran a long time. And I think this one I was a kid in the 80s. It was on TV with G.I. Joe and all the other characters. But I think G.I. Joe came out in 1982. That's why I don't got the G.I. Joe in the video. And a lot of games came out in '83 too. I might do a 1983 video game. There's still a lot. I still got a lot of movies that are from '83. I just didn't want to dig for all of them, so I dug for what I could find. So wait, let's make this nice and neat. DVDs are harder than VCR tapes. Because the VCR tape is all on both sides. You go like, this is a DVD, but never say never. You can flip the thing any way you want. You have both things. So these are all the things that came out in 1983 that I have so far. And like I said, in my other one of my other videos, I got about over 2,000 movies or more. So I got a lot of movies. So when I find a handful of these years, I'm happy. So these are all the things that turned 40 years old this year. And there's probably a whole bunch more that I might do a two-part if I can find some more. So if you've seen any of these movies, leave it in the comments. Let me know if you saw them on TV or at the theaters when they came out. So please like, subscribe, share, and comment, and have a groovy day. We'll have another video coming out real soon.